So did you put on? I did that. What year did you? I think I did it.
So I got that to look forward to.
See, that was before I was Where'd you do my girlfriend's from Southwest. Ashton Franklin, or Franklin Grove. Ashton Franklin's in every time I sit I haven't seen it in a long time. I had older brothers just 6 years before. So like, I basically, like everything I know growing up was
Not the university. I never made It's kind of weird. They let me make it. I remember when like there was bullshit.
That's what it kind of makes it sound like.
They get away with murder. I see what you're saying. You get away with murder.
Like reveal the text. That's good. I don't think so. I mean, like, and I think it's $2, but it's the same like freshman content. So we fill it out.
Or you can take it to the store and be like, hey, is this okay? Like, I don't want to get in trouble.
Like 2 months later, the FBI reached out. So I would
Yeah.
I So we must be selling.
My son, yeah, he's graduated.
Smile a little bit because I've done like a couple different banquets and things where after I'm speaking, I know.
In the high side. So you're walking pretty straight.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello. I don't think it's on. I can talk loud, but I don't want to make everybody else talk loud. I'll go ahead and get started because I can speak pretty loud. Ask my family about that. So good afternoon and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2018 SIU Distinguished Alumni Award Ceremony. My name is Larry Maldatius, President of the SIU Alumni Association. Thank you for joining us today as we carry on a tradition of honoring some of the most notable alumni of SIU. Each year, the association receives dozens of nominations of alumni who have distinguished themselves by outstanding achievement in their chosen field. These individuals have distinguished themselves by their pioneering, efforts, innovation, and humanitarian impact. They've been recognized in their local communities, nationally, and in some cases internationally for their work. Today we'll be recognizing alumni for the achievements in the areas of career achievement, humanitarian impact, and young alumni achievement. On behalf of the association, I want to thank the university community for their assistance in welcoming these three individuals back to campus to honor their success. These awards cut right to the heart of what the SIU Alumni Association is all about: tradition, pride, and opportunity. In each of these honorees are stories, memories, and a legacy of SIU. In each there is pride for the university that served them so well. And each individual was given the opportunity to find a path in life and to success during their time here on campus. We're proud to recognize this year's SIU Distinguished Alumni Award recipients as shining examples of how SIU shapes and molds people who will themselves shape and mold the world we live in the future. Now please welcome today's MC, Jeff Williams, station manager for WSIU Public Radio and broadcast news veteran of 20 years, and himself a proud SIU alumnus. Jeff?
All right. I don't see the on switch, so we're okay. We'll see what happens here. Well, thank you, Larry. As a,
Maybe that's what it is. It's a volume switch.
is there a volume switch?
It's a volume. Right on top, on the right hand side.
Oh, there we go. Oh, it's muted.
I was gonna say something, but your fellow engineer. I really do. Well, that's what on means.
Hey! I've got a radio station, do the job. Well, thank you, Larry. And as a third-generation Saluki and member of this university community, it is distinctly my pleasure to once again take part in this event honoring the Distinguished Alumni Award recipients here at SIU. And we will hear from the honorees shortly, but first, please welcome Chancellor Carlo Montemagno. Dr. Montemagno is an internationally recognized expert in nanotechnology and biomedical engineering, with focus in the areas of health, energy, and the environment. Prior to his appointment at SIU, he founded the Interdisciplinary Ingenuity Lab, based at the University of Alberta in Canada. He also served as director of the Biomaterials Program for the Canadian Research Council's National Institute for Nanotechnology, as well as research chair in intelligent nanosystems for the Canadian National Research Council. Dr. Montemagno was the founding dean of the College of Engineering and Applied Sciences and professor of bioengineering at the University of Cincinnati. He also served as a professor of mechanical aerospace engineering, founding chair of the Department of Bioengineering, and co-director of the NASA Center for Cell Mimetic Space Exploration at the University of California, Los Angeles. Other past roles include director of the Biomedical Engineering Graduate Program and associate professor at Cornell University, group leader in the Environmental Research Division at Argonne National Laboratories at the University of Chicago, and as a U.S. naval officer working with the U.S. Department of Energy. Dr. Montemagno became Chancellor of SIU Carbondale in August of 2017. Chancellor, please.
Well, first off, call me Carlo, and none of that stuff really matters. What really matters is where we're going and what we're doing and how we're acting together as a community, building as a community. And for me, it's so exciting to honor these three distinguished alumni to our SIU family, because they are exemplars of what we do and why we do what we do. You know, today we celebrate an educational leader, we celebrate an international humanitarian, and we celebrate a music industry leader. Very diverse skill sets, impact across our entire society. That's what it means to be a Saluki. Saluki is not a pigeonhole. We're not technocrats. We're not just artists. We encompass the entire envelope of the human experience. And what you see here are are incredible exemplars of that human experience. It shows what we deliver here at SIU is the opportunity to allow everybody to live up to their potential in their area of interest where they can have the most impact. And I'm so proud to introduce these individuals here today. Our students can learn so much from these individuals. They can see from their passion that by having passion and having a foundation of skills that we deliver to them, that they can achieve whatever they want to achieve. It shows the very, very difference of what it means to come and graduate from a world-class 4-year comprehensive research university and why coming here is distinguishable from other institutions. I want to congratulate them. They all richly deserve this honor.
Thank you, Chancellor. The SIU Distinguished Alumni Awards program recognizes the outstanding accomplishments of alumni worldwide. In doing so, it demonstrates to alumni, students, and the campus community the value of the hard work necessary to gaining an SIU education and the launch pad that it can provide for successful careers. Our 3 distinguished alumni for 2018 are, for Young Alumni Achievement, Daniel Booth, a 2-degree graduate earning a bachelor's in 2006 and a master's in 2010, both from the College of Education and Human Services, and an individual that my kids and maybe some of yours affectionately call Principal Booth. At least most days, affectionately called Principal. For Humanitarian Impact, Dr. William Doerr, a 2-degree graduate earning a bachelor's in 1951 from the College of Agricultural Science and a doctorate in 73 from the College of Education and Human Services. And for career advancement, or career achievement rather, Bonnie Garner, who earned a bachelor's degree from the College of Liberal Arts in 1964, and I had the honor of spending some time with her earlier this morning at the radio station, and anyone who hangs out with Willie Nelson and helps him make music is okay in my book. As is the tradition of this ceremony, we've asked 3 students who are following similar academic paths or have had the privilege of working closely with the recipient to introduce them. These students are but a few of the many excellent students studying at SIU, and you can read all about them in your program. Starting out, I'd like to welcome Danielle Lawrence, who will introduce recipient Daniel Booth, receiving the award for Young Alumni Achievement. This award recognizes outstanding career advancement, active community involvement, or exceptional service to the university.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Danielle Lawrence, and I'm a communication studies student specializing in interpersonal and organizational communication. It is with great pleasure that I get the opportunity to introduce Mr. Booth today. I could go on and on about Mr. Booth's accomplishments, but you can read about them in the booklet provided to you. I want to use my time to share with you what these accomplishments mean. These accomplishments are true indicators of purpose, persistence, balance, and the belief that the power of education can truly change lives. Mr. Booth is one of the most respected principals in the state, as evidenced by his nomination to the Illinois Principal Association Board of Directors when he was under the age of 30. He is also the current IPA Principal of the Year in our region. Mr. Booth was my principal throughout my time at Carbondale Community High School. I can speak to his character and leadership in both his career and his family. My senior year of high school, I was asked to give a presentation on a hot-button topic in my government class. Because of the nature of the class and how politic topics can have a tendency to be rowdy and divisive, I was, to say the least, nervous. Mr. Booth knew the presentations were happening, and one day he pulled me aside and asked what I had planned and how I was feeling. I shared with him my uncertainty on how to move forward, and in that conversation, he gave me suggestions and encouragement that I still remember to this day. Another admirable quality Mr. Booth possesses is his willingness to hear and listen to student thoughts and opinions. After he has listened, he gently provides his insight and perspective in a way that students are able to understand and receive if they so choose. Mr. Booth values a growing environment for both faculty and staff. He is committed to increasing the impact of education for students. It is my opinion that this is exactly what the education system needs in this day and age. Thankfully, it is also a priority that Mr. Booth is always working towards. He strives to give students the tools and platform that they need to excel. Mr. Booth is truly a remarkable man. Aside from being one who encourages, one who motivates, and one who is very giving of his time, he also knows the value of balance. He's willing to have fun. Not only does he does not sit on the sidelines, but he also participates, whether it be prep rallies or events such as dancing with the faculty. Additionally, he loves his children and his wife dearly. Throughout all that he's involved in, he takes spending time with them as a priority. He teaches them to be brave and leads them in a myriad of ways, by example, every day to show them how to run their race well. Please welcome Mr. Daniel Booth.
I wasn't expecting to have a tear come down my eye. Danielle, thank you. That's what an SIU communications major sounds like. I am truly honored to be here, and before I even dig in a little bit, I want to give some thank yous. And that first one being to Jesus Christ. There would be no way that I would have the opportunity to do what I'm doing without the gifts that he's given me to do them and the opportunity to have an impact on the Carbondale community. So that all goes to him. It's because of him I'm in Carbondale. It's because of him I have the ability to serve this community in the way that I serve it. And then I also want to thank the SIU Alumni Association for this award, for taking the time to recognize those who have come through SIU and benefited from walking this campus and being taught by the professors and the GAs, which are a big deal, and also the other leaders that are in the city of Carbondale. I also want to thank Mira Kumaraju for the nomination for this award. Mira is a bright and shining star on SIU's campus. She works so hard to make sure that SIU Carbondale is being recognized in the Southern Illinois region and that students have an opportunity to see what this university is all about. I will say it again, she is a bright and shining star for this campus, and I wish her luck in her position as provost right now. I also want to say thank you to those who have impacted me when I was on this campus. I see Dr. Schmoot back there, Dr. Ritzel. I've met with Dr. Caldwell, who is in the president's office right now. He was one of my law professors. Dr. Donahue, I can go on and on and on, the professors that they've taught me. I've got a myriad of family and friends in the room, but the next group that I want to say thank you to is my faculty and staff at the high school. I see some in the back. The further you move up in education or in any area of life, you realize how important it is to have good people on your team. I can honestly say that Carbondale Community High School is an amazing school, not because of me as principal. It's because of the teachers that we have walking around those halls every single day that are in that classroom touching students. My job is to give them a vision. My job is to support them. My job is to make sure that we have a good culture and climate for them to want to come to work every day and enjoy their job. And we do that at Carbondale Community High School. Last but definitely not least, I'd like to thank my family. My mother and father couldn't make it. My father is ill. He's not doing well. But one thing that they always taught me when I was growing up was to be a leader. Any time that I walked out of the house, they would say, Daniel, you be a leader, you don't be a follower. You make sure you're leading the way. And they implanted that in me at a young age. In every position and every time that I walked around any area, I always walked as a leader. And that's what led me to want to lead in an educational capacity. The last person I'd like to thank is my wife, sitting over here with her phone up. That is wife. Right now, I'm transitioning from being the principal at Carbondale Community High School to being the superintendent at Carbondale Elementary School District. And that is a position that I'm taking not because I'm looking for a promotion, not because I am looking for a title change, but it's a position that I'm taking because I want to make a difference in Carbondale. And if there's anything I've learned at Carbondale Community High School over the last 12 years, it's that true change in the education system starts with the little ones. When you're forming them, when you're making them and teaching them to be who they are. At the high school level, we're a bit reactive. We get them at the age of 14, and we just do our best with them, and we try to form them into who we feel like they can be. But my wife, in that transition, she's had to deal with a husband that's getting pulled 2 different ways. We've got a 2 and a 4-year-old. My wife has a tougher job than me. She stays at home with them. And there's a bit of you learn in education about pre-corrects. So when I got hired at District 95, and I started getting pulled 2 different directions, I would tell my wife, babe, I won't be home till 7:30 tonight. So when I get home, I hope you're smiling. Please don't be mad at me, And that's what my life has looked like for the last 3 or 4 months, getting home at 7:30 or 8 o'clock. And when I get home, my wife is smiling. Those kids are running, they're happy, and it is like, man, what would life be like if when I walked in the house, it wasn't that way? My wife sacrifices for this community just as much as I do, and I thank you for that. I appreciate it. The last thing I want to talk about is something that was mentioned earlier, and it's opportunity. I had the opportunity to get accepted into Southern Illinois University Carbondale as an 18-year-old young man who didn't come here with his pure focus being on getting an education. But as I came to Carbondale, I quickly fell in love with this community. As a senior at SIU Carbondale, I had an opportunity to student teach at Carbondale Community High School. And when I walked into that high school, I immediately fell in love with the community, the environment, because I was able to see Carbondale from a different lens. When I was a student, I was worried about the campus, but when I walked into that high school, I understood that it was about this community. And I quickly transitioned the hat that I wore to being a leader in this community. After teaching and student teaching at Carbondale Community High School, which is a job interview for free for a semester, I was fortunate to get hired at Carbondale Community High School as a teacher. I had the opportunity to impact this community in that way. I later had the opportunity to enter grad school at SIU Carbondale, and CCHS then gave me an opportunity to be an assistant principal. Not long after becoming assistant principal, actually 2 years later, I had the opportunity in the application pool of 35 people at the age of 27 to become the principal at Carbondale Community High School, which gave me an opportunity to have a true impact on the teenagers in Carbondale, Illinois. And I relish that opportunity every single day, recognizing that that opportunity allows me to make a difference. And now I have an opportunity to have another way to lead in the city of Carbondale through helping out the elementary district. I look forward to doing it. Carbondale is my home. It will be my home. And I look forward to having some of your students and making sure that they make it and hopefully come to SIU and have an opportunity like I did. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Booth. On behalf of the SIU Alumni Association, please accept this award commemorating and recognizing your achievements. To welcome Connor Klingel, who will introduce our next recipient, Dr. William Doerr, receiving the award for humanitarian impact. The award is presented to alumni who, through their outstanding professional contributions and/or volunteer leadership, have significantly improved or enriched the lives of others and the welfare of humanity on a national or international scale.
Hello everybody, my name is Connor Klingel and I'm a senior majoring in agribusiness economics. And I'm also the 26th recipient of the William Doerr Scholarship. It is with great honor and privilege that I get to introduce to you today this year's recipient of the Humanitarian Impact Award, Dr. William A. Doerr. Today we recognize a man who has dedicated his life to the betterment of others in the name of SIU. It has been said that if you have spent any time with Dr. Doerr, then you have surely seen one of his most prized possessions. To this day, Dr. Dorr carries with him a photo of the check used to pay for his first semester of fees here at SIU in 1941. I'll let Dr. Dorr tell you how much that check was for. While Dr. Dorr's resume is full of accomplishments, each with its own unique story, his humanitarian efforts internationally must not go without acknowledgement and appreciation. Dr. William Dorr was one of the first to pioneer SIU's international education efforts. He spent 2 years working as director of the SIU FAO's Brazil project. Here he utilized film strips to teach agricultural practices to students. Dr. Dorr was also one of 3 men who started the SIU U of I Pakistan Agricultural Development Project. However, his humanitarian efforts do not only exist abroad. He also did tremendous work to strengthen career placement opportunities for students within the College of Agricultural Sciences and much, much more locally. Dr. Dorr has undoubtedly led a life full of compassion and generosity. It seems as though his life motto was that of the old Chinese proverb: if you give a man a fish, you will feed him for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, you will feed him for a lifetime. I know of no one more deserving of this Humanitarian Impact Award than Dr. Dorr himself. One needs only to look to the Webster's Dictionary to find the definition of humanitarian. One needs only to look to Dr. Dorr to see that definition defined. Without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Dr. William A. Dorr.
I almost feel like the person that was at a funeral, a lady and her young daughter, and the minister kept going on about how great that man was that had recently deceased. He kept thinking about it. Pretty soon she punched her little son and said, "Son, go up there and see if that's really Pa in that coffin." Thank you, Connor. And I predict a great future for you. And thank you all for my nomination as the 2018 Humanitarian Award given by the SIU Foundation, by the SIU Emeritus Association. And also, I want to thank my family and friends for being here. They're scattered here in the office. And my thanks also to the other people here. I apologize. There are 2 other award recipients, and I'm intruding on your event here. As it was announced, my award is for humanitarianism, which the dictionary defines as having concern for and helping to improve the welfare and happiness of others. Isn't it amazing? I'm a 2-degree recipient from SIU, the Bachelor of Education and the Doctor of Philosophy degree, and I have never taken a course in humanitarianism at elsewhere or at SIU. Yet that is the award which I am receiving. It sounds more like an award that would be bestowed by a church to a person who has applied the golden rule of Matthew chapter 7. Do for others what you want them to do for you. Or, as is more commonly quoted, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If I didn't learn humanitarianism by taking a course, how did I gain that inclination or that desire? As a kid at home, and even as a young person over several years, our home, in addition to being home to mom, dad, myself, and my 3 younger siblings. I can name 15 other people that at one time or another called our home their home in the period of 1932 to 1945. One family of 4 persons lived in our home with us for a full school year. My mother and my dad were humanitarians. They looked out for others. Now, why were we able to do that? Well, we lived on a farm, a moderately successful farm, so we always had meat, milk, eggs, garden produce, and Mom was a good cook. So one of those families that I mentioned was 3 orphan children that called our home their home. Our home sent 3 people to World War II who did not come back. Paul Howe, Uncle John, and Everett Mason. They all left from our home. When I was a child, excuse me, so from my parents who routinely helped others in need, and from my teachers and others from whom I learned many skills, traits, and information to be used at appropriate times to help others, it became natural for me to have humanitarian traits. I came to SIU as a freshman in 1941. Figure out how long ago that was. And Chancellor, I have here a copy of that check that Connor mentioned a while ago, written September the 1st, 1941 to SINU for $7.50. And down in the memo line it says for fees. At that time, if one were going into education to become a teacher, tuition was waived, but it was only $10 a quarter. But this check was dated September 1941. December 7th happened in that same year. So on December 8th, every student on campus was called to Schwab Auditorium to his or her assigned seat to listen to President Roosevelt declare that a state of war exists between the United States of America and the Imperial Empire of Japan. I was only 17 on December 7th. I was 16 when I came here in September. Became eligible for the draft when I was 18. Joined the Navy, and because I had been a major in math and a minor in chemistry physics, when I got to the recruitment station, they asked me, first of all, I passed the colorblind test, therefore I was eligible for any military branch of the military service. If you were colorblind, you could not go into the Navy. But I passed the colorblind test. The next station they said, oh, I see you were a math major, chemistry, physics minor. You should take the cook test. Well, I didn't want to be a cook or a waiter. But it didn't have anything to do with the profession. It had to do with the author of the test. Cook had written a test to determine if one would be a good candidate to go into electronics, radio, radar. I took that test, passed it, got my training in radio, radar, and as a U.S. Navy sailor, I sailed in the desert of western Arizona. 22 months. Installing radio and radar in bombers that took off from there to go to the South Pacific. See if that lady's holding up that card yet. When I came back to Carbondale, I had learned that agriculture was a technical subject. I thought you just farmed. I didn't know you could study agriculture. But I had a friend that was an ag major, and he wanted me to change majors. But I didn't want to do that. But he finally talked me into going to visit U of I, because at that time, SIU was not allowed to train BOAG teachers. The University of Illinois had a lock on that. They had written into the guidelines for BOAG teachers, you had to have had taken 60 hours of technical ag from a land grant institution. SIU was not a land grant, so we couldn't train BOAG teachers at that time. But my friend who was planning to transfer to U of I talked me into going up there with him, and my counselor up there said, hey, all you need to do is take 30 hours of technical ag at the graduate level, take your student teaching here, and then you can teach in Illinois schools. I did that, and that's the last job that I ever applied for and got. It's when I applied for a job at the poultry farm at the U of I in 1951. I have not applied for a job since then, and I've never been out of work. I taught Raymond High School for 13 years. One day the telephone rang and it was Walt Wills. Hello, Bill, this is Walt Wills at SIU. We wondered if you'd come down here as superintendent of University Farms. I told him I'd have to talk to my wife. We decided to come. Well, I was superintendent of University Farm for 2 years. And then the dean called me in the office one day and said, Bill, you know, we got that contract in Brazil. We want you to go down there as chief of party, as Connor said. I said, you sure you're talking to the right person? He said, I think we are. I took 37 lessons in Portuguese and went to Brazil for 2 years. About 2 months before I was to come home, I got a letter from Dean Kepler. He said, Bill, Gene Wood is leaving the dean's office to go down and be chairperson of the Ag Industries Department. If you want to be assistant dean, I will hold the job for you. Now that was affirmative action. I became assistant dean and worked for 4 different deans as assistant: Kepler, Cronin, Tweedy, and McGuire. During that term, I was sent to the U of I one day with a team to plan a project for Pakistan. And I went to Pakistan with that team to plan for a reformation of their curriculum. I've worked on 5 different continents. I've never been out of a job. But SIU has been the thing that led me, that supported me, that guided me, that inspired me to do the things that now has culminated in me being named for this humanitarian award. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Dorr. And on behalf of the SIU Alumni Association, please accept this award commemorating your achievement and humanitarian actions. want to welcome Elizabeth Newman to introduce Bonnie Garner, receiving the award for career achievement. This award is presented to those alumni who have attained outstanding success and national or international distinction in their chosen profession or life's work, and whose accomplishments reflect admirably on or bring honor to Southern. Elizabeth.
Born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and raised in Milwaukee-town, Illinois, Bonnie Garner graduated from SIU in 1964 with a degree in speech communication. Never afraid to ask questions, a reoccurring theme influenced Garner's destiny. If an opportunity presented itself, she took it. Her first job out of college was working at the Hilton Hotel in Chicago, and she got used to dealing with all kinds of things, like a surprise delivery of a live elephant. Her experience with large animals and chaos management would serve her well later in her career in the music industry. A long and exciting career with a laundry list of artists that, yes, I'm sure you've heard of, and I'm happy to name drop on her behalf. Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Frank Zappa, Tina Turner, the Rolling Stones, and that just scratches the surface. She left the Hilton for a job at Playboy Press, working with the legendary business figure Hugh Hefner, and went on to work for Dick Cavett, Bill Graham, Clive Davis, and John Hammond. She mostly handled television bookings, concert promotion, and shepherded artists through the recording process. In 1973, she accepted the challenge of setting up Columbia and Epic Records' first Nashville pop division. In 1984, she was promoted to vice president for A&R at CBS Records, the first woman to ever hold such a position. In 1987, she left CBS to manage various music greats like Emmylou Harris, Willie Nelson, and the Highwaymen. And if that wasn't enough, she played a vital role in the production of Timeless, Hank Williams' tribute album, which she received a Grammy Award. During her long and distinguished career in the entertainment business, Bonnie has made sure the spotlight was on the artists and not on her. When I asked her what was important for me to include in this introduction, she talked heavily of her involvement in animal rescue. Currently at her farm, she has 8 rescued dogs, 2 donkeys, 2 horses, 3 cats, and is always happy to accept new fosters. And just 2 weeks ago, Bonnie and her friend Jenny Eastep rescued 18 donkeys from being slaughtered in Mexico for their hides. It is my distinct honor to introduce to you a woman who, in one way or another, has been saving asses for over 40 years. Bonnie Garner.
I've been talking about me all day, and it's not my favorite subject. I'm uncomfortable in that position. I'm used to talking about others or doing that. But when Kathy Dillard told me about this award and what was going to happen and sent me my 2-page itinerary, I said, well, what's the dress? And she said, oh, business. Now, in my business, the dress was black comfortable shoes, black jeans, a t-shirt or a sweatshirt with no writing on it, and sometimes if you had to meet an accountant or a Goddard Lieberson or another executive, you did wear a jacket, so I tried to dress appropriately. My friend Jenny is here, who is, if you want a donkey, she does a lot more rescue than I do. I try to help. As they said, I was raised in Milwaukee-town, Illinois, population 320. Approximately, is it still that, Jeff? Well, it kind of comes and goes.
They changed the sign when you left. They
Dropped it down. That, ladies and gentlemen, is my darling baby brother, who is my job to embarrass him constantly. But he, undergraduate degree from Northwestern, MBA from Harvard. I haven't embarrassed you yet, no. Marine Corps, Vietnam vet, captain, and now he plays a lot of golf and retired and is living in Wisconsin. They said to talk about what I remember from SIU and what it did for me. When I took the tour, they asked what was familiar. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I had classes in Old Main, which burned in when?
69.
Whoa, okay, yeah. And I lived 1 year on Greek Row, which is now Buildings with Accountants. Orland Turp, Dr. Kleino, was barracks. I can remember the steps waddling as I walked into your office. And nothing resembles it except the attitude, the people, the classes, what I took and I learned from here has just opened so many doors because it taught me acceptance, it taught me to listen, to look, and to learn. And one of the things these are my friends from Christopher who are sitting here, Pat and Jeff and Linda. I came here with a hillbilly accent. Now, if you come from where I come from, you talk like this and you don't put your end on your words. And so I developed an affectation that sounded like bad Cockney and Boston combined. It was really terrible. Again, Dr. Kleino helped straighten that out quickly. And so thank you for that for a lot of things. I'm proud of my upbringing. I'm proud to be hillbilly. Most of the time. I had a scholarship which paid for my books and my tuition. All three of us children had scholarships. Otherwise, we couldn't have gone to school. Neither one of my parents graduated from high school. But my mother did go back and get her high school diploma, her GED, at the age of 72. So she said, kept putting it off. That's what she wanted to do, and she finally did it. And she would call. She didn't tell me, but she would call me and say things like, she would ask questions about grammar. I said, why do you want to know that? Nothing. Fine. And so, yeah. But even though with the scholarship, I still had to work, and I to earn spending money. Mom and Daddy did pay for the room and board. I lived at Woody Hall. I lived at the sorority house. I lived off campus. Cake for 100, and also gained the 10 pounds you were supposed to gain during your freshman year of college. I worked in the library. My books at home are still in the Dewey Decimal System, thank you. They're alphabetized by category. I worked in the campus police. I learned all that cool radio talk, 10-4, and what's your 20, and I've got your 6, and that was great fun. And my sorority hazing, there wasn't any then. And so when I see it now, it's like, I don't understand that because I don't know if we were in the dark ages or what, but there was no alcohol. We had to stay up all night, and that was a big deal. But so that didn't work. I also tutored for the athletic department. I was the tutor for Walt Fraser his freshman year. That was interesting. I was living at the sorority house, and this was 1962, I guess. No, maybe it was later, 63. I forget when. It's one of those things from the file cabinet in your brain that kind of goes away. But it was quite a shock to the young pledge at the desk at the sorority door when this very tall African-American gentleman came asking for Miss Garner. And but it was okay, there was nothing, it was strange, it was different, but it was accepted. It was, no big deal was made out of it. And I did meet him later because we booked him on the Cabot Show. And I told him he had me to thank for his entire career, which he did not believe. And I also tried to explain Oedipus Rex to a fullback from the south side of Chicago. It's not an easy thing to do. And I remember Joey Rowe, I'll never forget his name, he said, I was going through the whole thing, Oedipus and North, and da-da-da, and he said, gee, Bon, is that when the shit hit the fan? So, well, that kind of brought it all to a close. Yeah, okay, that's, at the end, that's kind of what happened. There are several things I learned not to do at SIU, and one was not to make beer in a small off-campus apartment. Mr. Pat Jurek is here, and he was the best friend and roommate of my older brother who was here at the time. And I received an emergency call about something had exploded in the closet, and it was the beer. And I learned a lot about football. I'm still a rabid Titan fan, thank you, like Tennessee Titans and the Raiders. I learned a lot about rejection. If any of you have ever done children's theater and have played the wicked sister of the beautiful princess, and when you walk on stage and the entire audience of 5, 6, and 7-year-olds boos and hisses and tries to throw things at you, you understand rejection. I've always been a bit of a dilettante. I was in theater, I was in sorority, I was a cheerleader, I worked to keep up my grades, I was active, I was chairperson, they said chairman back then too, now I think politically correct we say chairperson, of New Student Week, and I was talking before about the number of new students we had then, I think was around 3,500, and so I'm very disappointed and surprised to hear that it's gone down, but I'm going to bring it back up. This is a great school. I had a kind of an isolated childhood. We were on a farm. We had no television, no telephone actually, no social media. We did not have Google. We did not have a lot of things like that. But there were no strangers and no one different looking, no one anything. It was just us, family. Mama used to say that she couldn't talk about anybody because she'd find out that we were all related. And Daddy had 16 brothers and sisters. Mama came from Milwaukee, down from the big city, and we lived on the family farm. SIU opened up so many doors to cultures and nationalities and races and experiences that I was like Forrest Gump, box of chocolate. It's like, wow. And I learned to be open to all of that and to look at all of the different things that were available to me. And I didn't concentrate on one thing or the other. I was all over. I was a dilettante. I didn't really master too many things. Sorry, Dr. Klein, I tried. But I've had so many different titles. I've been a secretary, except now you're an assistant. You're not a secretary anymore. I've been a talent coordinator, a talent executive, a vice president of a major record company. I've been a tour manager, a road manager. If anyone has seen The Highwaymen on PBS, if you read the credits at the very end, and my name is there. So I've been around the world with different artists. Every door was opened to another door. I never applied for a job. It was just kind of there. Some were better, some were worse. If I liked it and wanted to do it, I did it. But I've learned that it's all okay, it's all open, and just go for it, try it, accept it. If you don't like it, don't do it, go to something else. And that's one of the things that SIU taught me. It was just live, be open, and learn. Always learn, learn, learn from every person you meet, from every opportunity. Going around the world with 4 legends and an entourage of 39 into countries that explaining why Johnny Cash did not carry his own luggage through the customs department in Japan was not an easy thing to do. But you take advantage, you learn, and that's what started here at SIU, even though I don't remember a lot of it. Oh, my buzzer just went off. I think so I'll stop now. But thank you for this opportunity, for this award. I'm honored. Bye.
I have real eye issues with bright lights, so I'm sorry if I look like I was trying to be famous. I can see, and now you're all looking too, so I'll take them off if they want them off for the photos.
Thank you, Bonnie. On behalf of the SIU Alumni Association, please accept this award commemorating and celebrating your commitment and achievement.
Oh, well, I'll just hold them. I don't care.
I can wear it.
That's Brother John, he's allowed.
Okay, here we go. Well, I wouldn't put this down.
No, we've got 2 Marines in the neighborhood, so.
And ready? And the last one right here, ready?
Oh, thank you.
Sorry.
So, I'm gonna give that-
Want to make sure that we thank our student presenters today and wish you well on your endeavors. And who knows, perhaps one day we will also be honoring you for your achievements. With that, we conclude the formal program, so please join us in the Hall of Presidents and Chancellors for a reception with hors d'oeuvres and light music featuring the talents of the SIU Oboe Trio. Thank you all and good afternoon.
It was an honor. I'm glad you got to. Yeah. Thank you. You did such a good job.